ChatGPT 5 rollout reminds me that cutting edge technology leads to cutting edge problems. That these companies are all trying to push stuff out so fast that they really aren't taking the time to even out the problems. Let's begin and explain what ChatGPT is supposed to do, then talk about some of the problems and some of our suggestions. So I understand it's supposed to be one beautiful interface that automatically switches to the needs of the individual and produces a greater experience than ever before. And it's the greatest thing ever.
Right. So ChatGPT 5 has been touted as PhD level, where many said 4.0 was like a very smart college student. ChatGPT 5 is supposed to be PhD level and really based around real world utility. And some of the demos that came out from those who got beta access seemed to be pretty impressive what they were able to do. However, as with anything, a week after everything drops, users start to really complain about things. This is the first model that I've heard and I've seen on social media and then Reddit and things like that, where people actually claim to be canceling their ChatGPT subscriptions or pausing them and moving on to something else. So it's supposed to have a more work ready real world utility to it in coding and reasoning and application as far as the responses you're supposed to get. However, there are a lot of critics who are saying it's overhyped and that really 4.0 was actually much better and reliable. And so some of the criticisms you're seeing is that it's more formulaic, dry, flat, whereas they could customize the personality with 4.0 and it was more interactive and comfortable or realistic in how it communicated with them. And at the same time, that they felt it was more reliable and accurate in the information that it provided. Now with ChatGPT 5, they're not getting that. I've also noticed in my Plus account that where I could use, oh 03, 4.0, 4.0 mini, I had many models to choose from. I'm limited now to just three, really two of the five models, with the third one actually being limited to the Pro account. And so that, on a personal note, is a bit frustrating to me because I liked to use different models for different tasks. And I really had a workflow laid out that was beneficial to me. Now that's disrupted in that I'm very limited on what I can actually do.
Yes. And I think this is something we're going to see in all of these models, Justin, because everybody's racing too fast, pushing stuff out too quickly, and they're trying to appease the big funding gods. So we're going to see more of it. My professional advice is if it's worked well for you, especially if you have a number of custom GPTs, hang in there, file your complaints with everyone else. I think they'll level some of this out because they have to. That this is going to have some bleed off and drop off, but I don't think they're going to throw out their whole base because they're too attached to being the one solution for the small business and make it useful for everyone. And they are going to be tweaking in the back room. The other complaint was people had developed personalities with these things and they were their best friend and it's not having the dialogue they're accustomed to. So I think we're going to see bouncing and I think we need to get accustomed to it. I think everyone's going to be pushed so hard they'll throw things out too quick without testing because I grew up in the PC era and that's what was happening when PC started coming out. It's like throw it out there, fix it later. I in fact have a coffee mug I made that you are the beta tester, our customer. And it's still true. This is where I think you need to notice. I think you also, Justin, will be ramping out for the people in our training prompts that activate different ones. So just know it looks like having good prompts is important and testing them. But of course, I've seen, Justin, that people are finding inconsistency in different areas where one prompt works one way, another. They have to start ironing this out. But this is why our training in how to create proper prompts will be evaluating to see if anything we need to tweak.
Right. And I'd say be patient with it. I know I was working with it last night. And really, when I say that I'm limited to two ChatGPT 5 models, really, I was limited to one because one would never work. Yeah, even no matter how much I refreshed it. This isn't limited to me. I've seen where a lot of people are reporting this misfire. So really we're, down to one ChatGPT 5. Again, I still, ChatGPT's always been my main tool that I use. I do use others. I've had to switch. When I say I've had to switch, I've switched. I work between ChatGPT and Gemini mainly, and so I've relied more on Gemini during this time. But I'm not going to say I'm cutting ChatGPT completely by any means, because I do feel that we've seen in the past where if something like this happens, they're quick to remedy it, whether that means that they're going to provide access back to at least the four models. I don't know about O3, but at least the four models to where you can move back and forth. I think that's probably what we'll see. I don't know how long that would take. I can't imagine them doubling down because of the fact that so many people would probably cancel their account and move to somewhere else. But that's where you and I teach that it's good to have a few different tools that you use and that you're comfortable with. That way, if something like this happens, maybe it's down or maybe it's just a launch of something that didn't go the way they thought, you could bounce between your different models and not have a massive disruption in your workflow. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And be patient to be sure they hear and they're listening to what everybody's saying. So they usually have their thumb on the pulse pretty well. So to be sure in the next week we'll see something.
Improvement, absolutely. And also, don't forget, they've got pressure from Microsoft with
Hmm.
Copilot interfacing with it. So they've got a lot of people pushing, you need to get their act together. I did see some of the live presentation, and I think Sam Altman should get an award for speaking of the longest without saying much. He could be a weatherman. So I think that's the award I would give him for it. But look, they're the main show. They're going to compete. There'll be update. This is why we teach multiple models in our training. This is why our prompt training is so important as well. Hang in there. The other quick thing to mention is the open source models that they rolled out. They all rolled out two. That's more of a techie thing, but where you can run something local. And I think that was a smart move. I think they realize everyone else is doing it. They better get something out there.
That's right. And so there's different options out there. I wouldn't panic about it. If you want to pause it and save $20 for a month and see where it goes, that's where you go. But again, in your toolkit, just keep a few backups. I always recommend 2 to 3 different tools, being up to date, month to month on it, and integrate those like we were talking about. So that's really where that benefits from being adaptable. That's really the big skill that really you need to have. I know we just did a video panel this last week talking about skills you need in the AI world. I know that's being posted here soon. And so one of the skills we talked about was adaptability. This is a perfect example of you need to be adaptive. You need to have that critical thinking component to where if something goes down, you know how to react and how to keep your workflow moving without any disruption. So again, things we teach in our class, things that I think really benefit those working in a fast-paced, agile environment like we find ourselves now.
Yep, that's it. Okay, that's our update for now. Watch for others. If you have comments, you have tips, put them in the comments below, and look forward to our world that's changing almost daily, isn't it?
That's right.
Have a great day. Check the text below for other resources, and remember to click subscribe in the bell.